Will you please welcome Kevin Rogers, and thank you so much for running.
Thank you. Boy, hard to follow somebody that's a drill sergeant and has a name like Steve. I mean, that's strong. His parents knew what they were doing when they gave him that. My name's Kevin Rogers. I'm running for state representative for District 22, right outside of Hot Springs here and surrounding Hot Springs here. I got into this race, well, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. I'm a native son of Hot Springs. I grew up here. I was educated in public school at Lake Hamilton. I went to University of Central Arkansas where I studied political science and philosophy. I knew from a young age that I was interested in politics, although after getting 2 degrees in political science and philosophy, I always like to tell folks my philosophy degree ruined my political career. I spent time with Dale Bumpers in Washington, D.C. on a summer internship program and followed that up with work with the United Nations under Boutros Boutros-Ghali. That led me to working in their educational program that took me to Southern California to set up UN programs and universities across the state. Did that for about a year before I jumped into corporate and started, I realized that teaching a 1 credit hour class wasn't going to pay the bills in California. So I took up corporate work and groomed my skill set that way. Well, about 13 years into that, I bore a son, Conrad, who's not here tonight, but he's usually tagging along, and knew that I wanted to bring him up in the town that I grew up in. So we came back here only to find that if you carried a good education, getting a job in Hot Springs is not an easy endeavor. After going to numerous interviews, being told that I had made too much money in my previous career or I was overqualified for the position, I had to break out on my own and start my own business. And that's something that I see a lot of people in Hot Springs. They have the want to do the same thing. They have the entrepreneurial spirit to do the same thing. They have the skill sets to open their own businesses. What they don't have is access to capital to do so. And that's one of the main things I want to bring to this campaign cycle is opening up access to money for those people who want to start their own businesses, that have the spirit to do so. As well, of course, like I said, I have a young son. He went through a pre-K program, which now is on the chopping block with a proposed tax cut that they want to put through in our state that will benefit the top 1% while taking away from everybody else in terms of access to services in our medical, in our educational field. And to me, that's just not right. Everybody works in this state. They all contribute their own share. Why do we need to break it off at the top? Just to benefit a handful of people that's going to hurt thousands. So I intend on making sure that doesn't happen when I get to the House. There's been a lot of talk around my campaign because those of you who know my opponent, he's been in the news cycle quite a bit, Mr. Mickey Gates, who likes to tell people how taxes are going to be collected and what they're going to do with them, but doesn't want to pay them himself, saying that he hasn't filed taxes in over 12 years. We're not talking about filing incorrectly. He has not filed taxes in over 12 years, yet he receives a paycheck monthly to this day, even after being arrested. The 15th of every month, he takes a check from you, the taxpayers here in Arkansas. I didn't get into this race because Mickey didn't pay his taxes. I didn't look at that as being the way I was going to beat him. I got in this race to provide the leadership that District 22 deserves. In the primary, he had a competitor, and the joint vote between both candidates was just over 4,000 votes in a district of 35,000 registered voters. That tells me people have lost faith in their leadership in the district. And it's time we renew that faith, and I intend to do it. Thank you.